Happy Pride. I'm glad to see y'all here today. Our opening words are by Linda Lee Franson, the Pride Flame. We light this flame to ignite our hearts and minds, the spark of knowledge that enlightens, the shimmering hope that burns, the blazing love that engulfs our actions, the bonfire of our commitment. We light these flames for those who celebrate themselves, who fear, who hope, who persevere, who side with love for all. We light this flame for those who have been ridiculed, that they may find peace. For those who have fought to marry, that they may celebrate. For those who live in uncertainty in the world, that they may have hope. We light this flame to renew our commitment that no one shall ever again suffer for the right to love. We light this flame to celebrate our kaleidoscope of diversity, working, living, and loving, all on the side of love. For this, we light this flame.
Good morning. So, when I point to you, I want you to be awake because you're all up and ready to go. There's not a lot of you, but you can be loud. So when I point to you, I want you to shout out. If you feel the need to jump up, you can. We are proud, okay? So let's just practice. Today, Pride Day, we affirm with joy that we are proud. What are we? We are proud. We are proud to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, and questioning, intersex, and asexual. We are proud to have survived and thrived despite challenges to our dignity, well-being, and sometimes even our lives. We are proud. We are proud to be heterosexual and cisgender allies. We are proud to live and work in solidarity with our LGBTQIA friends and family, and together we build our beloved community. We are proud. We and those we love have been judged, mistreated, assaulted, but we are here and we are proud. We and those we love have been stereotyped and have faced discrimination, yet we are here and we are proud. We have seen those we loved beaten to death and gunned down, while others have taken their own lives. Still, we are here and we are proud. Today, Pride Day, we affirm with joy that we are proud and we are together and we are proud. Thank you. So pride is a virtue. Pride is the virtue of respecting oneself. It is a human need to think highly of oneself. And without it, we have no reason to trust our ability to live. We would have no reason to accept that our life is worthy of living. Pride is often confused with arrogance. While both seem to evaluate the self highly, the difference, however, is fundamental. Pride is a rational evaluation of the self. Arrogance is not. Pride requires us to think highly of our accomplishments and abilities, but only if they are worthy of such praise. And without this congruence, false pride leads to self-hatred when the reality undermines our attempted illusion. If our abilities are not as good as we would like to pretend, it's just a matter of time before we are really tested, and the consequence destroys our flimsy sense of self. True pride, genuine pride, is rational. It has the secondary consequence of making us want to improve ourselves in order to feel a greater sense of pride. This secondary effect, though, is not the reason for accepting pride as a virtue. Pride is virtuous because we need it to live. It is the pillar that supports our mind. Without it, one would constantly question our ability to make rational judgments, and it would undercut reason, which is our primary means of survival. So what happens when we are not ashamed of something we've done, but ashamed of who we are? As queer folks, we are given all sorts of messages about our bodies, our lives, and our loves. We are often taught that our bodies, lives, and loves should be sources of shame. We are called depraved, sinful, prideful, arrogant, and we are told to keep our love a secret, to keep our bodies hidden, and to stop flaunting our sexuality. All of these messages compound into a bundle of shame that we carry. We tuck it away somewhere inside ourselves where it festers and refuses to heal. So how do we escape from the burdens of the shame that we carry? We name it, we tell our stories, we come out into the light where we find that we are not alone. And when we step into the light, when we tell our story, we begin to release the burden that we have been carrying for so long. We expose our shame to the air and the wound begins to heal. This is important work. Pride in being queer is about believing the impossible is possible. Our very queer lives depend on us claiming our queer identity with pride, celebrating that we are alive and that we are not alone. I march to revel in my own understanding of my queer identity. I celebrate knowing myself, claiming myself, and honoring myself. Pride starts with me and ripples outwardly. I march because we are wonderfully and beautifully created, equal to everyone else. Our queerness is a gift to be embraced and celebrated. I march because my young queer friends are still killing themselves at a higher rate than ever before. I march because some truths have not been made self-evident. And while all people are created equally, not all of us are treated equally. I march because I'm queer, and I'm here, and damn it, I'm proud. Happy Pride, everyone. Just take a moment and turn inward for a moment of meditation and prayer. Spirit of life and of love, Spirit of the seekers and dreamers, the disaffected and disillusioned, the worn out and the burnt out, the rejected and the leavers. We seek blessings as we travel, as we doubt, and as we meander. We pray for the grace to leave when necessary, to come home when we can, and to create new homes when we are in need of. We seek protection of our souls from those who don't understand, don't care, who judge, who mock. We pray for the fortitude to undertake the journey, even when it's scary, or maybe especially when it's scary. May we know that as we wander, we are not alone, nor are we lost. And may we know that sometimes we have to leave the confines of what we knew to see the truth, goodness, and beauty, and to find out what comes next. We seek healing and, where possible, reconciliation. May we trust ourselves to know where we need to go by whatever route it takes. And may we seek for new ways to see and understand and new ways of being in the world. May we know wholeness, know and love our bodies, know and love each other in this beloved community. And may we take this knowing of pride into the larger community. Let it be so. Amen.
I just have two quick announcements today. The first is about the church picnic next week on Sunday. It's going to be at Sugar House Park, as it usually is, and the details here are in your order of service. Joe, are we okay on help for that?
Yeah, but takedown and setup, takedown afterwards would be nice.
Okay. If If we can have some extra volunteers to take down after the picnic, that would be great. Just see Joe after the service and let him know that you're game. And the second announcement, Linda, is this your last service with us or next week? This one.
It is.
This is Linda's last service with us as our intern. I thought it was. I have a gift for you. If you would stand, please. When I finished my seminary internship, I was given a stole, even though I wasn't ordained yet, and so I give this one to you in honor of Pride. Looks good on you. Thank you. Linda, you have really made a difference in our congregation, and especially with the religious education. I just couldn't, speaking personally as the parent of a child who was under your instruction, I personally owe you a lot, and I think our congregation does too, and we're going to miss you. Don't be a stranger. Why do we need a pride parade? Why do we need pride? We've come so far in recent years, gaining acceptance and visibility and even the trappings of normal life for queer siblings. So why does pride still matter? At this week's Interfaith Pride Worship, we sang a song, Gentle Angry People, a song that was written by Holly Near after the assassination of Harvey Milk. It called to my mind the wonderful movie that was made of Harvey Milk's life and how much I learned about what it was like to be gay in the 70s and live in the Castro, what it was like to be one of the first to be publicly out and proud, what it was like to live through the AIDS crisis and see people you loved just dying all around you, and nobody cared and there was no hope, but those who make it through had an unbreakable bond. It took real courage to be gay back then. And being gay was radical enough on its own. It was still considered a mental illness in some places, or even a crime. Just the word itself, gay, was radical, revolutionary, tender and vulnerable and deeply personal. So we didn't have the language yet for all the other colors of the rainbow. But then at last year's Pride Parade, back home in Alabama, I saw a young person carrying a sign that said, "Pretty pan without a plan." I was astounded. Here was a kid openly, proudly pansexual. Now, I could never have used that word back in the 90s. It was hard enough for me to come out as bisexual. That was a mind-blowing concept. And even more stunning, this person's mom was marching right next to her, smiling proudly at her child. I thought to myself, this is the new cutting edge of sexuality and gender, where it's all finally meta. These kids aren't just playing on the playground of gender and sexuality, they're ripping the equipment right out of the ground. Every generation builds on the foundations laid by their ancestors, and it is no different with us, the queer folk. From a time when there was just that one word, queer, and derogatory at that, to our own times when the anagram, once simply LGBT, now includes as many as 12 letters and counting. We are many, and we contain multitudes. Being queer now is about breaking down all the assumptions we have about what it means to be human, about taking each person just as they come to you, without putting them into roles and categories. It's about being present, fully present, to the unique constellation of stardust and poetry in the unique person standing before you. And yet, it's still not safe. We're still debating the value of hate crimes legislation, the value, whether there is value in protecting our queer siblings from acts of violence, whether our lives themselves have value. There are still 28 states where you can be fired from your job for being queer. Trans people and non-binary people, those for whom the old rules of pink and blue don't apply and never did apply, are at risk at almost every turn of life, from going to the doctor, to flying on an airplane, to caring for their children simply because they don't fit into society's two boxes. Access to sexual health information and reproductive rights are still as fragile as they ever were. And that's why I'm marching today. I'm marching on the streets of my city to say that I commit to making this a safe place to be who you are. I want you to be able to play freely on the playground of gender and sexuality. I want to support your journey here in religious community. I want you to find your sacred self. I want you to experience wholeness just as you are. I want you to be creative and fluid and beautiful and gentle and angry and proud. And I want you to come and go with me. We're going to sing our last song together. It's called Come and Go With Me. The words are in your order of service, should you need them. Let's all do it together. Then we're going to go march in this parade.